Good evening. Welcome to the Mancunian Way. My name is Martin. I'm your host, and we will be joined very shortly by our panel. I just wanted to start on time because some of you got a little bit upset with me because I put the stream up early. I was just making sure everything was all set up. But yeah, good evening to everyone. I need to change that background. It's mixing too much. Not my cup of tea. There we go. Let's try that one. Is that a nice one? No, I don't like that one. Sorry, I'm playing around on stream and it's not nice. No, I don't like that one. We'll go with that one. There we go. Right, good evening, everyone. Pat is with us in a minute. I will just bring him in. FIFA, how are you, mate? Good evening. Adam Quinn, good evening, mate. Elder, good evening. Section is in the building. Good evening, mate. A1M, thought the stream was for today. I know a lot of people thought that as well. A1M, thank you for renewing your channel membership for a 8th month. Been here from day one. You are a superstar, my friend. Yeah, I set it up early because I was trying to save me a job because I knew I was busy today. So I do apologise about that one. Might just start the stream now. Adam throwing up the sharks. Are they sharks or fish? Yeah, there you go. Sorry for the confusion. Let me just go in. Man City have released 1,806 tickets for the FA Cup match for Luton. I doubtful I'm going to be going because they've started. I haven't got 25,000 loyalty points, so that's why. Hello, DC. Hello, Jack Lee. Chrome Abyss is in the building. Steve Black's here. Big up Martin Demichelis. I'm not that bloody old. I feel like a fourth kit going to be a Champions League kit because Dortmund are stopping that. We'll see. Speaking of golden oldies, Pat and Rich are here. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I object to the golden.
You know, I'm golden. You be an oldie, I'll be a golden.
Yeah.
Whatever a golden
Hey,
is. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Golden.
How do everyone, says Del.
We'd be like the Golden Girls, remember them? And actually you're too young.
I know of them, I just never watched it.
I know exactly.
I'm not in a position to watch a lot of daytime TV.
Well, it's only because Rich's girlfriend was Betty White.
Rest in peace.
Brett, I'm on LB's in a bit. LB's always welcome here, mate. I will be on LB's straight after this. I'm even going to put a redirect onto LB's channel once we are done here. Good evening now. We're all to Eagle. Leon says evening all. Aidan Green, thank you for becoming a member with your Rotherham United football club badge. Good evening, Aidan. Hope you are well. Thank you. SOS, how are you, mate? Peter Gresty's in the building, singing the blues. Keep an eye on Singing the Blues because you may have some amazing news coming out of that soon. We may have a brand new City channel coming to our midst. Let's keep an eye on it, Blues. The Three Musketeers. Does that make me D'Artagnan?
No. I think I'll be Aramis. The poetic, intelligent one.
What can we do about rivals crying?
I think you'll be Athos. You'll have to be Athos, Martin. And you're
Big up, Ed. How are you, mate? Alec Johnson's in the building. Look like Oasis doing a fourth kit according. I haven't seen that, Kate. Mark Fogg, hi, Martin Palin, fellow Blues. Yes, Mark, can you send me another email? I've emailed you back. I don't put it in here, mate. I just need your address. I've put your order in. I just need your address now to send it on to. But I do hope you get that sorted out, mate. Did Rich wake up on the right side of bed today? Oh, yeah, Rich.
Depends which the right side is.
Are you in a good mood or an argumentative one?
Both.
Brandon City fan says, good evening. I'm going to stop calling you that, mate. Sorry, Blue Monday. All right, all days. My apologies, mate.
I'll get my ranting hat on.
Great show. Hope all right. You are for Dorothy's, obviously, Alan. Must be Everton. No excuses. Failed to do so will not be tolerated. 5 a.m. in Perth, Australia. Chris A, keep up the good work, guys. Julie, good evening. I've spoke with Mark. I hope that does get sorted out, and I'm sure it will. Porthos.
That's
Can you get Alan up?
No, Pat's Porthos.
Alan's had a link. Whether Alan joined, I don't know. It's up to Alan. Good evening, BB. How are you, my friend? Remember when you moaning about buses today? Yeah, now they're doing lots. Yes, we're going to talk about that as well tonight. Don't worry, because the transport links are changing. They're doing the trial. I'll go into it all tonight. Big up to everyone over down under. Good morning to you all if you are from down under. Big Morgan is in the building. Cheers to the membership, Martin. Things aren't going what? Sorry, Anthony. Retype that, mate. I think I missed some of it. Mark, I'm sorry. Hope it gets sorted. Is Savio the new Chris Woods?
No, Chris Wood is the new Chris Wood.
He doesn't have the close control of Chris Wood.
I'll have my medicine.
Sorry.
Like Savio, if Savio really works on his technique for a few years, he could get up to Chris Wood level.
Anyway, let's get into it. Manchester City have made their first signing for 2024 summertime. Was announced by Fabrizio Romano that Manchester City have agreed a deal with. Now, let's get this correct. It is not Girona. It is Troyes.
Thank you.
I'm very happy that you're happy I got that pronunciation correct there, Pat.
You going to be all right with Copenhagen next week?
Yeah.
Good.
For Brazilian 19-year-old Savio, as he's called, currently on loan at Girona FC. Now, yes, it has caused World War III with some of our rivals. Boo-hoo. Sorry. The Premier League voted on this about 2 months ago for Newcastle United, PIF, so we're not doing out wrong. It will be investigated for fair market value by, as James Ducker and Telegraph did report, the Premier League will rectify it on fair market value. But there has also been numerous rumours and situations that it looks like he's going to come in for pre-season, go over to America with the Blues, and then they will make a decision, but they've not ruled out him going to Girona on a 1-year loan as well. So it's not 100% straight into the Manchester City first team squad. We will wait and see with that. But wanted to get your reactions, and topic 1 and topic 2 are going to kind of combine into one topic tonight because we'll go from one and straight into the other one. Rich, we'll start with you. Savio, are you shocked at the timing? Bothered about what rivals are saying? Seen anything of him?
I've seen bits of him, and he's a hard one because he's a bit like Doku in the sense that you just don't know. Is he going to be strong enough for the Premier League? Is he ready? I think it is a step up from La Liga, quite a big step up from La Liga. So, but he's played some good teams in the Liga, and he's looked good in some games against decent sides. So, you know, am I surprised? No, because I'm surprised we haven't really done this before. Because the whole point of the City football group was to allow this sort of thing to happen, and it hasn't really.
Rich, stop right now. Charlie, see me after class.
Oh, if you're going to be in the padded seats, Charlie, you're now Charles. Simple.
Just poor Charlie.
Yeah, you have to be Charles.
Poor
Charles.
Poor. I hope you have a lovely day. Carry on, Rich. Sorry. Yeah. I just needed to name the shame Charles.
Yeah, so I'm just surprised it's I'm surprised it hasn't happened a bit more, to be honest, but I would be surprised if he is with us next season, because I don't know, I just feel he might need another year of battle hardening for the Premier League. But at the same time, as we've seen from, players like Foden coming through, maybe the best battle hardening is 12 months with Pep, only starting, 10, 15 games and being around the squad. Because to be fair, not many players from City have kind of ever succeeded going off on loan and coming back. We've never done that well. So maybe coming to City and just accepting 10, 15 starts is the way that we should deal with a player like that.
Would it surprise you if he did go on loan in the end?
That wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't know that it's necessarily the best thing. I think the best thing might be being a number in the squad and learning Pep's way.
I'm about to counteract you that when we move into topic 2. Pat, what do you think, Savio?
Just from little glimpses I've seen of YouTube highlights with Slovakian EDM music playing in the background, looks decent. Looks a bit more composed on the ball compared to what Doku is, I think. Has good pace, but just not lightning off the mark pace like Doku does. But still looks, he does look quite a threat to a lot of those La Liga teams. Given obviously La Liga teams do give players a lot more space than what they do in the Premier League. So I'm sure if he wants to make a career for himself here at City, he'd definitely have to learn a bit more of the physical game. But as Brazilian players, I mean, Gabriel Jesus is a prime example. Like he certainly was able to adapt to the physical game when he came. Keiki, yeah, as well too. Fernandinho, of course, the master of it all. So yeah, I mean, there's the ceiling's really high for the kid, and I don't know. I'm open to both options. If he goes back to Girona, fair play. I mean, they'd probably appreciate it if they were going to try and have another successful season. I mean, I'm not expecting lightning to strike twice for La Liga next year, but I'm sure they'll, given that most of their Girona team there's a lot of loanees, they're going to have to try and bring back as many players as they can for next season. But if we're talking about possibly there's talk of 4 pre-season matches for the States come July, August, whenever they're going to be on. So plenty of chances for Savio to get plenty of minutes and see what he can do to impress Pep. And pre-season's only a small sample size, but I just hope the kid can show enough potential that Pep decides to give him a go. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth having a go. And if at least we've got the luxury of the transfer window going through to September as well too. So you can even consider. We'd probably even considering playing in other matches, like if we make the Community Shield or anything like that too. So I think time's on our side in terms of whether we make him a City player, and time's on his side because he's only 19. So whether he goes to Girona or he stays at City, it's a win-win for him, I think.
And we all know from Calvin that Pep judges on training, not on playing games. So
yeah,
it's going to be about training in America, not the games.
Yeah, I don't know. Savio seems so focused on wanting to be a part of the squad. I just think he's going to be. Training is just going to be like a bull in a china shop. He's just going to want to be doing everything he can to impress Pep and his hopefully soon to be fellow teammates.
Yeah, no, absolutely fine. And listen, I think he looks an exciting prospect. Have I seen a lot of him? No, I really haven't. So it's hard for me to judge sort of on certain things. It really is. So I don't want to say he's going to be a superstar, because for me personally, I never do it, because I know everyone did it over Doku. Everyone did it over Echeverri already. And no one's ever seen Echeverri playing. Everyone's talking about him being the new Messi. And you're like, the kid's 18, come on. Let's just calm down. But I just need to say one thing before we get going, and it's a bit of sad news. Someone who I do collabs with and I speak to privately announced today that he's had an operation due to being diagnosed with, I don't know what. I've spoken to him. He's doing okay. Diagnosed with cancer today and an operation. So if anyone knows Patrick from True City Fan, I want to put all thoughts and prayers to him. Fight it. He's had the operation today or yesterday. I have spoken to him via text message, but fight it, mate. Fight it all the way you can. We're all with you. We're all behind you, and we're all going to support you, mate. We wish you all the best. And yeah, so if anyone can send any messages to Patrick at this sad time, he would appreciate that 100%. I know. And I'm not crossing any boundaries. He put it on Twitter today. Kept it. People have been asking why he's not been doing streams, why he's not been on videos. You now know why. So yeah, fight it, mate. We're all with you.
Yeah. Wish you a speedy, Pat. Hope you kick its ass.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is, has that now? I'm not trying to. I'm obviously this is a debate, but what I wanted to ask is, are City changing their transfer policy a little bit? What I mean by that is, you look over the last sort of year or two, we've signed a lot of youthful players. And Pep Guardiola tends to be a certain somebody who does like experience. I know he was very upset about Gundogan leaving. He was upset about Mahrez leaving. Fought like hell to keep Walker, as we know. Are we in danger of losing too much experience and bringing in a lot of youngsters? Or because, I mean, I'll go through the squad because I know someone did ask me today. Sorry, not today, last week. I'll go through the squad, for example. Erling Haaland's 23. Alvarez, 24. Oscar Bob, 20. Phil Foden, believe it or not, he's only 23. Doku, 21. Grealish is one of the older statesmen, 28. De Bruyne at 32. You've got Bernardo, 29. Kovacic, 29. Nunes, 25. Rodri, 27. Walker, 33. Rico Lewis is only 19. Sergio Gomez, I don't think he'll be here, so I don't want to go into that a lot. Josko Gabardio's 21, 22. John Stone's 29. And then, obviously, your goalkeepers, 30 and 31. With Echeverri and Savio, have we changed a little bit here, or is that why? Is it just we'll have a look at him, or what? I don't know.
I think it's just inevitably has to be done. I mean, the reality is a squad, and through the eras goes through a period of becoming more experienced, and then youth having to come in. And the reality is, when Pep came in, we had a whole lot of experienced players we don't have now. And Aguero and Silva and Fernandinho and Otamendi and a whole host of Joe Hart. We had 4 full-backs, I think, when Pep joined, with about 120 years of top level experience between them. So Pep had to come in, and we had to take experience out, and we then had to replace Company and Aguero and everyone else. And I think we're just coming round to that period where we're having to replace, Gundogan, and we'll have to replace De Bruyne, and Fernandinho went, and I think it's just the inevitable, evolution of a team. It doesn't concern me greatly. I think, with Stones and Diaz and Walker and Edison and Rodri and still De Bruyne and Bernardo and Foden and Grealish, there's incredible experience in that team. There's plenty of players who played for a decade. There's players who played in every big game there is in the world, in treble winners, World Cup winners, everything. So it doesn't greatly worry me. What would worry me more is if we didn't have the youth coming in to learn from those players. So when we sign an Echeverri, I want him to learn from Bernardo, and I want him to learn from De Bruyne. I want him to learn from those players. When Alvarez comes in, and I think Alvarez has played more than anyone else this season. He's coming in and he's learning from those experienced players. And in 2 years' time, Alvarez will be pretty experienced. And some of our young players have incredible experience, like Foden. People say, Foden's 23, he's a kid. He's played nearly 300 games for club and country. 300 games, that's,
That's when he started at 17, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's got, but he's got incredible experience. So we've actually got players, and
we know,
and honestly, and the ones who come through the academy, one thing I'll say about Rico Lewis is Rico Lewis plays, physically he's going to get a bit stronger and a bit more grunt to him. But in terms of his positioning and where he watches the game, he plays like a 30-year-old. So, he doesn't play with any sign of an experience. Gvardiol is 21 going on 35. He doesn't play like a kid. He plays like a grizzled old, defender who's had 20 years playing in the Championship and the Premier League. So, no, it doesn't worry me. Individual roles worry me. What happens when Rodri goes? What happens when Stones goes? Will we replace Walker adequately? So individual roles worry me, but not necessarily for their experience, because I think the collective experience we've got is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with what Rich said there. It's just, it's a case of man for man, replacements aren't necessarily too much of an issue for City, and they haven't been for many, many years. And the other thing that I think we do very, very well too is I don't think the club's really ever been in a position where they've had to strengthen on more than one front. So if we are a little bit weak defensively due to age or people, players leaving or anything like that, it's usually just a defensive issue. We're not worried about we need midfielders as well, or we need attackers as well as defenders. Like, we're not trying to bolster 2/3 of the squad. It always seems to be, we strengthen one particular area in one particular summer transfer window, and then we're pretty much on our way. Especially defensively, we don't really need to make any major signings for another 5 years or so. But look, sooner or later, there is going to become, a bit of an age gap between experience and youth. And if one thing Pep does with his systems is he certainly knows how to get a balance of obviously getting the veterans, as much game time as possible, but also to keeping the young players happy and understanding that their game's only going to get better the more that they learn from the older statesmen, rather than trying to have a bit more of a diva mentality or throwing the toys at the pram like we've seen with some talented youngsters at other clubs. So if there's one man that can gel the sort of age gap or the youth gap or generational gap, if you want to even call it that, is Pep. So if there's ever a manager you need for any sort of if there's any issues between different age gaps and positions and things like that, Pep's the best man in the world for it.
Yeah, the only reason I was asking was because of the simple fact of when you look at our squad. Now, even I fell into this gap, as Rich knows, of our thin squad. When you look at everyone together, I know Echeverria is a year off, so I'm just looking in more long term, because a year is not a long time in football, especially when you're signing players to 4 and 5 year deals. Yeah. So, for example, if you want to bring in a Savio that played mainly on the wing or right wing, can play left wing, you've still got Oscar Bob, still got Jack Grealish, still got Doku, still got Bernardo, still got Foden who can play out there. Yeah. It's a lot of players for 2 positions. Plus, you want to bring in maybe a Kimich, or a Paqueta, or as others said, Musiala. When you start adding all these up, our squad size jumps quite considerably. And then I'm looking at it of, where does everyone go? For example...
See, Martin, I knew you'd come back to my way of thinking.
Shut up, Rich. Kovacic and Nunes were both man of the match in their last 2 performances. But because Alvarez was in such damn good form, he had to stay in the team, rightfully so, even when Haaland came back. So Kovacic and Nunes had to go out, despite being man of the match. So Kovacic man of the match at Tottenham, Nunes man of the match against Burnley, and they both go straight back to the bench. Do you understand what I mean? We've not brought anyone else in yet.
Well, I think there's two things. I think, firstly, it would very much depend on Savio's attitude, because I think if he was going to stay and who knows who will leave and what injuries we have, but assuming we don't have injuries and that Bernardo stays, then Savio would have to stay on the basis, we want you to stay. We want you to spend a year learning how to play the City way. You'll get goes off the bench. You'll get, Carling Cup, maybe FA Cup, etc. games, but we want you to learn, and you've got to be patient. You've got to accept that, and some players can, some can't. We've seen with Foden, he accepted that and he's gone on to amazing things. We've seen Cole Palmer didn't, and he's gone on and he may go on to amazing things, but somewhere else. And Sancho wouldn't accept that at 18, but Oscar Bob, has accepted that through till he's 20 as well. So I think there's different players. I think Savio offers something a bit, with those players, there's different players for different games. There's different keys for different locks. And, Grealish, Doku, Foden, when you look at those players, they're all so different. And Savio is different again. Savio is more, a bit more direct, a bit more Doku, but he's not the stocky, explosive, go both ways. He's a bit more, kind of finesse and, a bit more easy on the eye, because, Doku's like, he's like that.
Savio looks like he glides on the pitch, Richard.
He offers something different, because I'm not sure that we actually have a Savio in the squad, and there'll be games when that will be very important. And I think it's that endless debate, and we had this show just on this like a month ago. We looked like we weren't able to fill a bench. We were putting players who other than academy watchers people won't have seen on the bench. We were worried about how we were actually going to put a decent 11 on the park, and we've had that. And then now, a month later, everyone is fit, and we're looking at it and we're thinking, Grealish is a bit annoyed. How does Akanji get back in when we've already had players like Diaz and Walker on the bench? Nunes and Kovacic man of the match, and then they're rested. Truth is that'll help us at the end of the season, because I think we're going to need all these players. But my view's always been, and we had this talk before, that if we make our squad bigger, and there are some arguments that we can and we should, they either have to be players like Savio, who come in accepting that their time is going to be limited whilst they learn the game and they learn to play, or they're going to have to be at the absolute other end of their career, like Tony Kroos would have been if you signed someone, who are coming in and they know that they can't play 2 games a week. They know they can only play half the games. So, all right, so we can talk about Nunes then.
Do I bring him in?
Yeah,
I would, because he's gone. He's gone. I don't know where he's gone. Type
Martin,
yes in the chat if you want Alan in. Yes, because and then
I think Martin, given I've only got an hour today, Alan should come in as a substitute.
I mean, like people said, here,
take off the star midfielder and bring on the old grinder to see out the 90 minutes.
The reason I ask is because I know that obviously, like Sam Lee talks about him being after Musiala, and there's been talk of Ertz, and there's been talk of Neto, and there's been the police. We're not going to buy all these players plus a bunch of youngsters
unless people go. And
okay,
and I've always
all right.
Yeah, I've always thought that a lot of these are about that. Like, I think Pep, given his choice, would
trying to avoid the subject, Rich, because I know which player everyone's going to mention.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Pep would love to keep Bernardo, but if Bernardo goes, we're going to bring in a top class player to replace him. So we have to have scouted top class players who we think can replace Bernardo. I mean, no one can, but as close as we can to replacing him. So they're going to be rumours, but they're rumours that we won't act on if Bernardo stays.
Well, like
Here's a quick question.
Rich and Pat, we will always bring new players in from the same nation in Paris, like Gavardio, Kovacic, Sani Gundogan. Do you think we'll do the same with Savio and Yankutu? Again, Yankutu, he's still a young lad. So I just got to, I think we've got to be careful of bringing too many youngsters in.
Yeah, I think there's to me, it's a bit of a no-brainer that we give Yankutu a go, or Kabore, who I don't think's doing anywhere near as well as Yankutu. We've got these players; they're free to come. That Yankutu's good enough to have got in the Brazilian side now, and he's started a couple of games for Brazil.
I'll send you a link, mate, by the way, if you want to join.
We've got to give them the chance. So for me, Yankutu's a no-brainer. He's a City player on loan in a position we desperately need, who has been good enough to get in the Brazil team. So it may work, it may not work. But give him a go.
Good evening, Alan.
Good morning. How are you?
Don't know. I'm going to buy you a watch.
I'm sorry, mate, but
he's coming on at half time for me. He's my substitute.
I'm quite busy at the moment, but there we go.
Sorry, man. Give it a few minutes. You'll be throwing a blue card at him.
I know.
Yeah, we're going to talk blue cards. Don't you worry. I know Rich will have
I haven't even heard about these blue cards. So I'm not.
You wait, Rich. Jesus.
Yeah. You have a good say about it.
Yeah,
I think just a quick side note, because we did mention him just a few minutes ago. Musiala, do you think there's more to it? Because I believe if he does come to City, he fills an English quota. Because he played in Chelsea Academy for a lot of years through his teenage. Sorry?
Where would he play?
Would he be the Bernardo replacement, or would he be the long term? Would he be the long term? Would he be the long term for KDB or?
I think the long term for KDB, to be honest with you.
So where are you putting Foden?
Well, Foden's now above KDB.
This is what I'm saying.
Well, we're making KDB and Foden work at the moment, man. So
where you putting
I believe we've been called cheeks again by the press. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, Martin, I think one thing we've learnt this season about Foden and Alvarez, and I think this is why they play so much, and Pep loves them. It's Foden and Alvarez are just everywhere. They're just two players who you stick in the park and they play everywhere. They can play everywhere across that whole front. They shift left, right. They run the whole game, and I just think that, in a funny sort of way, and I know it's really indirect, but I suspect that the most likely replacement for Bernardo is Alvarez, because Alvarez is the one player who seems to be able to battle the whole game, go absolutely everywhere. And, he's not the same player as Bernardo, but actually he plays the same role in a Pep team, which is being an incredibly flexible.
Okay, let me just, Charles, you can have some rotation. You can't have all the rotation, though. The trouble is, Charlie, with the amount of players that people wanting in, you're going to end up with a very unhappy squad. So I don't believe all these names. Not all these names are going to come in.
Correct. I agree with you.
Come in, because you can't have two top players for every position. It don't work anymore. We've tried it; it doesn't work.
So, of all the positions, Martin, what do you think? What's your priority, and what do you think the club's priority would be?
Think of it this way. Let me just put it this way. For defenders, we have, this is without obviously João Cancelo or Esperand. We've currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 defenders, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
We have for midfielders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then your 2 strikers. That's without obviously Peroni's on loan, James McAtee's on loan. So are we presuming James McAtee and Peroni are done at the football club, really?
I hope not.
It's hard to
Personally,
I would love to
McAtee's
see
for the
McAtee,
day.
but I just think his
I think
time's up. I
McAtee's
think what he's doing at Sheffield has increased his stocks big time.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Yeah, big
I
time.
think
but
what may happen with McAtee is a sale, you know, one of those sales with a buyback, so that we give ourselves a chance if he really nails it. So,
yeah,
you know, we may sell him for 20 instead of 25, but with a buyback clause somewhere. But
Rich, if it's to another PL team, it could be 40 million.
I think there's two big realities. One is that Bob has come in and he's obviously shown a hell of a lot in training. You know, you just hear the way Foden and Grealish and people talk about Bob just shows how much he's impressed the whole squad. And, you know, Pep loves him and he's come in and he's done a job. And in a way that McAtee hasn't had the chance. So I think now I think Bob's won out that battle that was almost between McAtee, Palmer and Bob. And if we bring in Savio, you know, that's another, you know, nail in that coffin. So personally, unless he has an absolutely incredible second half of the season, keeps Sheffield United up, scores 10 goals, 10 assists, I just don't see that.
And this is why 2 weeks ago, and I know nothing. I was giving my opinion. Why, when Alan got very upset me 2 weeks ago, when I said I think Grealish might end up leaving the football club, not because I wanted him to.
No,
Alan, calm down.
No.
Not that I wanted him to. Not that anything else. It's just that I'm looking and I'm thinking, where does he get in? I play him every week.
It's harsh reality.
I'm not Pep.
And I think we need the tool that is Grealish for the squad. I think
Grealish going to be happy just being a squad player.
We'll see. I mean, the only thing I've always thought
on 300 grand a week. He's on 300 grand a week. Don't forget.
Is if Villa get top four and they're in the Champions League. That's what I was
about to say.
And Emery likes Grealish as much as everyone else at Villa does, then, you know, I'm sure if Villa came in with a fee that went got us most of our money back, having had 3 good years out of him, and he could play for Villa in the Champions League, that might be the sort of offer that neither party could turn down.
I agree.
But I do think we need his role in the squad. And
by the way, before I'm already getting attacked. Before anyone says about Grealish, I'm not saying he's going. I'm not saying I want him to go. The point I'm making is what Cade's put. Grealish and Docker was a left wing, Savio and new signing as a right wing.
No,
what do you mean? Who's the new signing? You got Phil Foden, you got Alvarez, you got Bernardo. By the way, what are you doing with Oscar Bob?
I want Oscar Bob to get more time.
This is my point. You can't sit there as City fans and go, I want Oscar Bob in. I want this in. Why do the EDS get sold? And then 5 minutes later, when we bring 2 or 3 players in, go, but they can't leave. You end up with about 15 bloody wingers.
Yeah. No, but I mean, my position's not changed. The positions, I think we need a Rodri backup replacement, whatever else. Even though,
which I think will be Kimich.
Good games.
I do think Kimich.
Yeah,
I think if we
you don't need a Rodri replacement now. You just need a second in charge.
No,
sign Kimich. You don't need another midfielder. Yeah, if we sign Kimich, we won't, and Bernardo doesn't go. There's no way we'll sign Musiala, Verts, anyone. We don't need him.
That's my point, Rich. This is what I'm saying.
I think we need a Gomez replacement.
Buy everyone and not sell people.
Yeah, we need a Gomez replacement at left back, and we need a Walker backup at right back. In my view,
this is my point.
And the Walker backup can be a younger player.
I mean, Pat, do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to say I want Grealish out. I love Grealish.
You're just Martin. Yeah, Martin, totally get you. You're just giving harsh reality.
I'm saying to
simple as that.
I get it. Bob, hit Kimich, Paqueta, left, right, and centre, and then nobody else leaves. That isn't going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that those Verts and even Paqueta rumours. I'm surprised that they're still going because honestly, now that Foden
I never thought Verts would happen.
No, but I don't think any of them will happen as attacking midfielders unless Bernardo goes. Because I do think that with Bernardo and Foden and De Bruyne and Nunes and Alvarez and Kovacic, we are absolutely, blessed. And Bob can play there.
That's harsh.
And Grealish can come in there. We're absolutely, we're blessed in that area. I think Rodri backup and fullbacks is where we need.
Because without Grealish, we don't win the treble, mate. Without Grealish, we don't win the treble. And by the way, before he was dropped, he scored 3 goals in 3 games.
Yeah. Do you know the absolute?
He's done a lot more than 2 good games.
You know the absolute nonsense. We had a really poor start to the season this year. We lost 4 games or 5 games in all.
We had the best start ever under Pep. What are you talking about? What game are you watching?
This season,
we had a good start. We had 4 draws in a row.
This season, we lost 4 games in our first 15 in all competitions.
Rich, we won the first 6 in a row in the Premier League.
I said in all competitions we lost. We went out.
What games Rich watching here?
I was watching the 3 games we lost in 1 week 3 games we lost in a week when Rodri didn't play. The Community Shield, okay, that was on, Pens.
No, I know, but that wasn't our worst start because it was our best start under Pep.
But my point, well, no, it's first season. We won like 11 on the trot, didn't we, or something at the start of the season? Something crazy.
I'm not sure, Rich.
But my point is that in all that time, it was something like the 14th game that Jack Grealish started that we didn't win. Grealish was, almost as big an issue in terms of the stats as Rodri. When Grealish played, we won. And it was bizarre because at the beginning of this season, fans were giving Grealish stick. Yet every time he started, City won. And then they were giving him stick about games he didn't play in.
Rich, do you know we didn't lose in the league until the start of October?
Yeah, but we then had that run with Rodri.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to say it wasn't. It depends. Are you calling the start October, November?
I'm just what I'm saying is that when we didn't play well, and when we dropped points or we lost a game, Grealish wasn't playing, and fans were blaming Grealish for games where he hadn't been on the pitch. And when Grealish, I think, was 11 from 11 wins from his first 11 starts for City this season. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of nonsense about Grealish where he gets blamed for games he hasn't played. And I heard City fans saying, we haven't started well. Grealish isn't in form. And I'm like, well, the 3 games we just lost, he didn't play in them. Yeah. So how can you blame Grealish for a game he didn't play in? Or are you saying that Grealish is so good that when he doesn't play, we lose? I want Jack to stay because Jack, in the big games when we need to keep control, we need him. And, if we went with Savio, if we went with Doco and Savio in some of those massive quarterfinal, semi-final games, we'd throw away the Champions League. If we went with Grealish and Doku and kept
by the way, I'm not saying Rich. We need some people are misreading into it. I'm not talking about the rumours. I'm talking about in general.
If we get rid of Jack Grealish, we're stupid.
Then you're going to lose Oscar Bob.
Yeah, if we have a Champions League,
2-3 years, mate, before he gets.
It's like
so. This is why, though, Alan, we lose youngsters.
Well, yeah, I get that.
I've never said he'd leave, Charlie.
Mate,
please, Charlie, please. I never said he'd leave.
Oscar Bob has got talent, right? Mm-hmm. But he hasn't got the consistency yet because he's still young. That's a fact.
He's 20. He's not that young. He's 20. 21.
Well, he's got to produce it game in, game out, and he's yet to do that.
He's not. This is my point. Some people think Oscar Bob's a lot younger than they think he is. He's not actually that young.
Mate, if he doesn't prove his consistency, you know what I mean? Mate, if he doesn't prove his consistency, he's gone.
Well, no, but Alan, I don't think he's had a chance. I think
he's not really had a chance, Alan, to be fair.
He's not
when
had a chance. Is
he as good as Jack at the moment? No. Is he as good as a Kanji? No. He's got different skills. He's got different. Well, what's it called? Doku, right? Is he as good as Doku?
I'd say Alan. I'd say he's more. From what I've seen of him, he's a much more consistent player than Doku. I don't think
he's a more rounded. He's a more rounded.
I don't think
Doku's a headless chicken for me. He doesn't look up when he's passing the ball.
Oscar Bob came into our team and looked like he's part of that team.
I don't want to go into
naturally incredibly talented footballer.
The point I'm trying to make is here, everyone. The point I'm trying to make here is that you can't have all these players buy every bugger and expect nobody to go out the door.
Well, no one at the moment. And every transfer window, about a month before every transfer window, Man City are about to sign 725 players. The papers do the rounds on every single player.
Ireland have signed Savio, mate. Savio's in.
I know. And I suspect, and I've not read the reports, and I haven't, I suspect that everyone's kicking off because we signed him outside the transfer window. Well,
nope.
What the kicking off?
Pre-contract.
Because he's come from a CFG group.
Yeah, exactly.
We're doing what everyone thought Newcastle.
They're kicking up about that. Well, is it the press that's making all this noise, or is it somebody else?
Alan, what they're trying to do is they're trying to kick up a stink the same way how there was talks that they thought Ruben Neves was going to come to Newcastle because the Saudi team that he signed for is owned by the same PIF. Is owned by the same PIF investment.
They had this vote about 2 months ago, and it got drowned out. He got drowned out, and Liverpool, Arsenal, Man U, and all the red cartel got told to fuck off. So, as far as I'm concerned, they can all F off. So, and that goes to the press as well because they're a bunch of liars.
Right. Okay. But the fact is that we've signed him, right?
Yep,
so if he stays, this is what I'm saying right now, and you've still got Echeverri in a year. Yes, he's coming in January next year. So you're going to have to try and get him in. Plus, you got Nunes, Kovacic, the possibility of signing Kimich, the possibility then of signing other people. Plus, people want Neto, people want him, they want Wirtz, they want Musial. You're not going to fit everybody in. So if you want to freshen up, one or two will have to leave. That's just football, whether we like that or not.
Yep. Well, that's Pep's choice, isn't it? Because he's the boss.
So my point is, and the only reason why I mentioned Jack was, this is just my opinion, the guy's on 300 grand a week. If he's not rooting down a proper spot by the end of the season, there will be rumours about him going because it's going to be like, well, paying 300 grand a week for what?
Well, yeah, we've also paid 100 million for him as well.
There you go.
And so at the end of the day, we're going to have to get at least 80 million back to recoup some of the money.
It's like, but people say, well, we've got Bernardo's going. Alan makes a great point. Who's going to spend the 50 million on him?
Oh, well, 3/4 of the league are nearly bankrupt, which is true. They are.
It's not as easy Bernardo walks out.
They have to sell a bunch of players just to get him, yeah.
Do you know, Martin, I don't think it's who's going to pay 50 million. It's who's going to pay 50 million that he'd want to go to, because
that's my point.
I suspect there's about 15 Premier League sides who'd happily pay 50 million for him if he was interested in going to another Premier League side. Who wouldn't? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who wouldn't have him? Every team in the Premier League would have him, but and they'd have him for 50 million because it's an absolute bargain. I mean, it's you're getting. He is one of the best midfielders in the world, and if you're a Premier League team, I think there's arguments put that in some ways because of his adaptability, he's almost a better Premier League midfielder than De Bruyne or Rodri. Because he can do everything. So everyone would have him, but he wouldn't go to another. He wants to go to basically. It doesn't even seem he wants to go to Madrid. It seems he wants to go to basically Barcelona, or in a few years' time, Benfica. And if that's where he wants to go, Barcelona look like there might be an administration.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, and the other thing is that we've all got to remember is as well as, and the reason is because Tommy come out the other day saying, Alan, where have you gone? What the hell, Alan's disappeared. Tommy come out the other day of Kimich, wants to come to City if he leaves Bayern. He wants to come to City. Now, if that's real, the reason why I think Kimich could be real is because he covers 3 positions. Right back, CDM, your number 8. Perfect pet player.
Don't you
Got
think
12 months left?
Don't you think Tuchel's going to be gone at the end of the season, though?
This is it. I think, Alan, this Kimich is all dependent on the power plays that are done at Bayern.
I think
that's what it is. If Tuchel stays, absolutely, he's through the door.
Yeah. I think there's 2 managers in the world at the moment that if Bayern came in for him, they'd probably go. And one of them is just leaving Liverpool.
Do you know what, though?
Do you know what? Maybe he just wants to change. Maybe he's thinking this is my last game.
I think that in a way. I think that to truly get global stardom, I genuinely don't think you get that in the Bundesliga. I think if Kimich wants to take himself to a level that probably in the German team only Kroos, and back in the day, Klinsmann and Mateus, etc. They reached it by going and really doing it overseas. And a bit like English players, German players haven't been quite as as big at going everywhere around the world and really nailing it. So I think Kimich might want to play for Pep again. I think Kimich might want to play in the biggest league in world football. I think he may want that profile. So even
he's
if
done everything at Bayern too, Rich.
Once you fall out of love with a place, just because a new manager comes in doesn't mean you're going to fall back in love with it. So I think Kimich might be more than just Tuchel.
And it's not going away. This is my thing. Do you remember the Kovacic rumours started coming in around about January last year? Yeah. And they never went away for 6 months. And he signed. Kimich has been doing the rounds now for a good while.
You see a similar pattern.
Yeah. I'm seeing the exact same pattern with Kimich as I did with Kovacic. And I'm like, something's clearly been said somewhere here for me. It's the same pattern. I know people are skepticism will go, it's a new contract. Not every player is after a new contract, like Rich said. Not every single player is after a new contract. And there's no guarantees that if Alonso walks in, he even fancies Kimich. So if Kimich comes in, but this is my whole point. Something like top of the league spot, I don't see Bernardo going anywhere. So if you've got Savio, Bernardo, Oscar Bob, Doku, Grealish, and Alvarez, and Foden, and KDB, where you're fitting them all in. Because rotation won't keep them all happy.
Are City selling some shares down at Girona as well? Because they're going to need to, aren't they?
It depends.
I'm not sure we will.
It depends, Alan.
Because
the rules are we only hold 47%. But if we have effective control,
what I was going to say.
I don't know whether we do or not. Then we would have to get rid of a few shares. If we don't have effective control, then we're okay. So it really depends who's on the board and who the directors are and which shareholders they're tied to.
Kimich will be shit in the conference now.
Yeah.
They'll send Alan into meltdown. No, that's the only thing I listen, Savio, I think we don't know. I think the only reason I asked the question was because with the last 2 signings of Savio and Echeverria, is City trying to make a really good go of that youth market again, of that South American market. Yeah. But you can't bring in these 2 young lads if they're going to be in first teamers. If you want them as fans, because you're going to have yourselves question of, well, then someone will have to go.
I think we just have to be a little.
You can't keep everyone and keep adding. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. We just have to go a little bit easy on Echeverria, I think, Martin, because if he comes to the club when he's expected to at the end of this calendar year, you are looking at a similar situation with Alvarez, where if you play him too much, you're talking about 18 months of straight football. So if he comes into the side in January next year, it's going to be a case of Pep's going to manage him, even micromanage him, I think, in a way too, because, you know, you can't have a 21, I think he'd be 21 by then, 20 or 21 by then. You just can't have a young midfielder like that burning up so quickly after what is a very, very long and excruciating season in South America.
But why would they spend 25 million on a guy who's not going out? To spend more on him as what they did on Alvarez.
Well, obviously they must see a bigger ceiling and a bigger ceiling.
That's what I mean. That's
you're looking. Point, I think they're looking at Echeverri with the intentions of hopefully him becoming a 10-year player at City.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah, but like I said, we can't expect him to just, you know, go straight into the midfield depth. I think come January next year, he's just going to be a fringe player because they're going to have to just monitor his fitness.
The trouble is that makes it harder. Is a lot of these players have the choice of a lot of other clubs. Like Savio was choice of about 4 or 5.
But if he went to any other major European club, they'd probably do the same thing too.
I'm not sure. I think he might replace teams would get in.
Yeah, he might replace Savio at Girona. You know, we might give
Savio a Chelsea
Girona and take him back.
Projects again.
Anyway, I have to drop for. I might join back again in 15 minutes, but
right, we're gonna
a good evening.
We're gonna move on to the next
enjoy your blue cards.
Yeah. I see Bernardo going to Benfica in some swap deal. So that's the other thing talked about, João Neves.
Yeah.
How'd you get João Neves in? This is the point is, and this is what I'm trying to say, as City fans, yes, we're going to want to make a bigger squad. But whether we like it or not, when players come in, some will leave. That is a fact of life. And that's whether you don't like it or you don't like it.
It's a carousel.
Someone's going to have to go. Or you end up with rumours that you got the other day with Grealish walking out of trading, which was only a rumour that I don't know anything about it. I don't know if true or whatever, but nothing got said since. But the simple fact is those rumours will always come up while players are sat on a bench. Because, listen, it has gone on for 30, 40 years since I've been a football fan. Players aren't happy sat on a bench. They're just not.
Players aren't even happy depending on what the opposition is.
There you go.
Mahrez, Sheffield United.
So it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. But anyway, let's move on. Before we go into the Everton preview, we're going to move on to the next one. Rich is going, yes. We're going to move on to, there's going to be any test of, I will just get the information up. Just get it up. There's going to be blue cards trialed by football lawmakers, IFAB. So the football lawmakers, IFAB, are to trial sin-binning players and issuing blue cards. It will be announced on Friday. Sin bins have been trialled, used at grassroots level for dissent, but their use could be extended to cynical fouls as part of the trial. A player would spend 10 minutes in a technical area after being given a blue card by a referee. It's not clear yet when the trial will start and which competitions it will involve. There has been links to the FA Cup next year where it will come in. Not in the Premier League, but within the FA Cup. Now, loads of other people have talked about it. Good evening, Gaza. Talked about this. Sin bins were piloted in 2018-19 with the FA reporting a 38% total reduction in dissent across 31 leagues, and they were introduced across all levels of grassroots football in the 1920 season. The rule change was then implemented up to step 5 of the national tier system and below in women's football. So the idea is of next year to bring in a blue card within the FA Cup is what we're talking about, and the women's game. Personally, absolute crock of shit. Worst thing they could ever come up with. Absolute garbage idea. What the hell is going on with the football game? Joke. That's just my issue with it. There's a lot more footballing issues need sorting out before we start including blue, yellow, green, and purple and indigo bloody cards. Absolute nonsense.
Is it more of an integrity of the game thing for you, Martin, or?
I just think it's a lot. I think on so many levels it's wrong. For a start off, you're going to cause more injuries into players. Because how do you kick a player off for 10 minutes and just tell him to stand there? You're going to cause injuries because the body warms down.
Yeah, true, actually. Yeah.
Another side of it is, if it's only a trial, because apparently the rule is if they get 2 blue cards, becomes a red.
So yellow is completely irrelevant.
But where does the ban come in then? Because it's only a trial, so where does the ban kick into? Two things.
That's what I was thinking too, the disciplinary side of it. Is it just going to be blue card? Is it only going to be something that's enforced in-game, or will they accumulate to make disciplinary action?
Yeah.
So it's an in-game only. It's not part of your record for the season.
And the other thing is, say 5 players surround the referee and they all swear at him. Are you giving all 5 players a sin bin? And what we're doing, having 10 minutes of 5 aside? It's the stupidest idea they've ever come up with.
Well, let's be honest, mate. I think there's only one person in the world who probably dislikes it more than you, and that would be the only player in history to ever the only player in history that ever man-marks a referee, and that'd be a Mr. Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, because by the way, UEFA and FIFA have said it's a crock of shit, and they won't be doing it.
I'd tell you what, if they had blue card for United matches, Bruno would probably get 3 every match.
So go on. Anyone want to jump in on that opinion? Does anyone agree with it? And if so, why?
I can kind of understand it in some respects. I mean, there's been, I did read earlier on this afternoon that one of the reasons that they are looking to bring it in is because of the issues with the referees. Referees are getting abused left, right, and centre, and I think it's where they feel it's not so much the issues in the top leagues, it's more that this has kind of been in the lower leagues where they feel that referees have been verbally abused, physically abused in some cases, and I think the ref federation just feel that they need to look at ways of protecting the referees, which I can kind of understand. I think referees have probably one of the toughest jobs. No one particularly likes a referee. No one really wants to become a referee. We've heard reports over the last few years that a lot of referees have left. A lot of referees are not the top quality of some of the referees, and I just think, can you blame them in some respect wanting to protect referees more because it's not particularly the best job in the world to have?
I mean, they've got to get better referees first, has it?
Yeah, but I think you've also got to have incentives to protect the referees. So I can kind of understand why they're doing this. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but what I'm saying is that I think, in all honesty, they've just decided that they're going to give this a go to see if it works. They have been using this in the lower leagues, and it has proved somewhat effective. I think
the problem is, like Danny's put a refs can't deal with yellow and red cards, never mind blue ones.
Yeah, well, I mean,
what if a goalie gets a blue card?
Yeah. Do you think the system would work better? Do you think the system would work better instead of 10 minutes, where, as Martin makes a point, they can, a player can quickly go cold start after a few minutes, never mind 10. Wouldn't it make more sense then? Obviously, if there is dissent, like, and referees are trying to abolish that, wouldn't it make more sense to make it instead like more along the lines of like a forced substitution, where it's like, you're off, but I'm not sending you off, but we're going to your managers had to replace you because I'm not going to. No, but I mean, like, to me, I'm not suggesting they should do that. I'm just saying it would make more sense than just a blue card where they go off for 10 minutes, and as you said, probably become more of a risk of an injury.
I just think a blue card's meant to be a deterrent, a punishment. Be just subbing someone. It's no punishment.
No, but it'd be more like the referee trying to neutralise dissent by getting that player off.
Yeah, it works very well in rugby league, which it does. And I don't know about Patrick, but I watch rugby league over here, and it works very, very well. And the one thing I'd get really frustrated about, and Ozzy touched on it, is the amount of back chat and verbal abuse that referees get instead of just doing as they're bloody told. Because I've never seen
in rugby, they say so much before they even consider a sin bin.
Exactly.
Way much more dissent than what they do in football.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. I go watching Melbourne Storm here regularly, and I like referees.
Even rugby though, are they?
I
The
do.
trouble is the referees in football are like, some of them are as big as the players.
I know, but
That's
there is
the problem.
I think they're a bit more sponges too. They absorb more. Yeah.
I think everyone must admit the abuse that referees cop of players is disgusting. I've never known a referee change their mind ever in my life. We've all been watching football for a long time, and the abuse that they cop, there's just no need. There really isn't.
I mean, would it be better in some respects rather than 10 minutes? Because I agree with you, Martin. I think 10 minutes is too much. Would 5 minutes be kind of more suitable? And then if you're saying, like, if you've got a number of players basically surrounding the ref, well, then as most of the time, maybe the captain should face the consequences, and you take that person's captain off. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, because it's the captain's responsibility to basically, the ref usually goes to.
So I said this earlier on Extra. I went like, where'd you put them? Because it can then also because some people will play the system. Say your team's getting walloped 3-0. I don't know what Alan's doing, ladies and gents.
Why is he zoomed in on his ear?
I don't know what he's bloody
doing. He's zoomed in on his ear. What is he doing?
Oh, God. No idea.
Anyway, say a team's 2 or 3 down and they go off. A manager might, let's have take a tactical blue. Take a tactical blue, come off, we'll have a chin wag for 5 minutes. Because I don't know where you're putting them, because clubs aren't going to start building sin bins everywhere. They're not going to do it.
With a scrolling marquee at the top.
That's what I mean. I don't know where.
We got 7.5 minutes left.
Room to put the players other than the bench. Trouble is, a manager's there. So what you'll then have to do is hire another official to keep an eye on the person in the sin bin, so he doesn't talk to the manager. But he's still going to get coded messages to go back on the pitch and go, while I was off, the manager said, can you do this, that, and that, and that? And it just, I'm sorry, it's an absolute, there is far bigger problems with the game than a blue card and a bit of swearing to the ref. Because I know these referees swear back at the players. Trust me now, we can all lip read. We've all seen refs tell players to F off. And do you know what they need to do? They need to sort the AR out and mic up the referees. Then it'll change. If we can hear what's being said, that will change everything around. We don't need to start adding blue cards in. My word. Just mic them up. No one's going to call them a see you next Tuesday while 40,000 people and millions at home are watching them. And can hear them.
I think in the heat of the moment, you know what I mean? Especially, when you get a certain decision go against you, I don't think broadcasters are going to want to particularly hear what the players are saying. It's just, you're talking about a lot of issues there that the broadcaster are just not going to want to take on. So I think that's one of the big reasons. Why does nobody want to
take on the blue card? Because nobody wants it.
Well, again, I think, like I made my point earlier, I think that basically the referees just are wanting more protection. They're wanting basically a bit more respect on their name. We can go into kind of, their decision making, but ultimately, as we've touched upon, some of the abuse that they do get has got out of hand. I mean, when referees are being physically abused, whether they're pushed, punched, I think that's a step too far. So,
how many referees are getting punched at Well,
it was only just in the Turkish league that it happened. A few weeks ago?
No. But I'm sorry, I know what you're saying, but nothing's happened like that in England.
But it's happening in the lower leagues, Martin. It has been happening. This is one of the reasons.
Grassroots for 10 years. I never saw it.
It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, Martin.
I'm not saying it don't, but the trouble is with grassroots. Listen, I could tell you a lot about grassroots. Like I said, I did it for 10 years, week in, week out, every weekend. People talk about, listen, there's more punch-ups for parents than there is bloody referees. Trust me, when you don't put a little Johnny on a pitch on a Sunday morning, the dad wants to knock you out.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Martin, but at the same time, it filters down the behaviour that over the last few years we have seen constantly. Players berate, constantly shout, lay hands on the referees, and this just filters down, and the referees are kind of saying they've had enough. They want some sort of solution, and this is one of the ideas they've come up with. I'm not saying it's the right idea, but it's something they feel they need to do to look at. And there's no harm in looking at options.
Well, UEFA don't want it, FIFA don't want it, and the Premier League aren't showing it yet.
One interesting thing on referees for me is, why do you think football has this referee problem that really just doesn't exist in other sports? There was one incident, I think, in cricket a few months ago where, someone got a long ban for, haranguing a umpire, but in truth, it was very minor by football standards. In rugby union, you see 6'9" grizzled Argentinians calling the referee sir. Even rugby league, you don't see the haranguing the refs. It's just strange. It's a kind of football thing that you don't see in most other sports. You don't see it in American football to the same degree. It's almost like they lost control of it 50 years ago, and it's never come back.
Is Alan there, or is he just gone?
Mm-hmm. Did you give him a blue card?
Is he in the sim?
I gave him
10 minutes.
I gave him a blue card because I came back on the pitch.
I just think there's far bigger issues to deal with in the game than a blue card, and I think it's because the difference is in rugby, like someone said, they stop the clock in rugby.
Yep.
But
And Martin, there you go. Given the Premier League, that'll be bloody 17 minutes of added time every match, not 9 minutes. Yeah,
we're already into nearly 110-minute games.
Agree, but in rugby, you'll still have some little 5'7" referee being politely spoken to by two 6'9" grizzled, locks who could, crush them with one finger. But they, there's an incredible, there's a very, in cricket, rugby league, American football, referees are generally treated completely with respect. But in football, it's just not the same, and that's at all levels of the game, really. It's why is it football's different? Is it just because it's the global sport and it, or is football just never really tried to get the referees treated with respect?
See, this is the problem. Like that said, for me, we've got 4 officials plus VAR plus the people in VAR, and they still want a bad move. But it's like, where are we going next? To me, do you know why referees are getting worse? Because there's too much for them now to all think about. The last thing they actually do now is referee the game. Because they're getting mic'd up. They've got this round here. Like, Tottenham away. The linesman, we all had to stop the game for 10 minutes while he sodded off to go and have his mic sorted out. Like, what is this? Is this where we're going? Like, to me, it's just... It's the simple fact of it is, I understand, I get it. I do understand what Ozzy you're saying. I do get that. I just think there's far bigger issues within the game.
Oh, I do, Martin.
You're right. The blue cards.
Yeah, I agree. There are far bigger issues. I mean, we look at like the offside, and we see like in the Champions League where it's really quick. They have those mannequins that come across, and it's just, why is that not happening in the Premier League? That is something that just doesn't seem to be get answered. So I agree, Martin. There are bigger issues. VAR, we've had the debates before about how bad it is.
It can, Neil. Just on that, by the way, it can, because we use VAR differently to what VAR was used abroad.
Yeah, it is down to the officials. making those judgments, and the judgments have been poor. But like you said, Martin, they've got so many other things to think about.
That's a great point. By the way, tennis players get. Have you seen some of the abuse umpires get? Do you ever watch McEnroe? Jesus, I wouldn't say that was a gentleman's sport. Meant to be.
Yeah, that was like 40 years ago.
Still
that was
goes
40
on now. Don't pretend it
yeah.
don't.
One thing that is interesting about, say, the sin bin in rugby, which has made a difference to reducing errors, is that, you know, a referee in a rugby game will put a player in the sin bin for 10 minutes, and it will then be evaluated whether it's a red card or not. So when someone does the wrong thing, you're not under pressure to decide red card, yellow card, nothing. You can give them a sin bin, so that therefore if you're wrong and it's not that bad, the worst that happens is 10 minutes. If it's terrible, that will then get evaluated in the 10 minutes and it will be a red card and it will stand. So, you know, one thing I hate in football is the amount of occasions this season where I think there's been red card offences for and against City that should definitely have been red card offences, and the referee, because they don't want to go red or, you know, it's almost like red or nothing, they do nothing and they let them stay on when they really shouldn't. And I think we saw that against Huddersfield recently, but I think we saw it against Arsenal with Kimich. You know, the only thing something like a sin bin offers is it just removes that completely all or nothing issue and can improve the decision making. But the problem football has is it's a fluid game, and nearly all the other sports where, you know, American football, cricket, rugby league, rugby union, there are stops in the game. And so when things go to video, it's a natural pause in the game. Too much of football occurs during the play, and that's the problem, because you can't stop and start.
Yeah, and the other thing I will say is, and I know, because I know other sports are more, but a lot of the fans in football over there were a bit too tribalist, we're a bit too hostile, we're a bit too. Listen, because I mean, I've been to basketball games and ice hockey games in America, and they're great, absolutely great. But you could have one opponent sat next to another opponent, and they're all like, yeah, they don't like each other. Over there, they're like knocking each other 10 bells out of each other, and that's the problem with the referees. You know, in other sports, cricket and everything else, you don't have 100,000 people calling you a wanker or saying you're not fit to referee and blah, blah, blah. Football fans can be a bit, and I'm one myself, it can be a bit, I don't want to use the word thuggish, but we can be a bit OTT. We can be a bit OTT sometimes. Bless us. Has Alan gone again?
So, Martin, do you think it's basically there's too much technology now in football, and basically it needs to go back to having no technology at all? Or is it that they haven't really thought this through properly with a lot of the technology? It's not been properly tested and, you know, field tested, so to speak. So do they need to go back to the drawing board? Do they need to have more tests? Do they need to have more?
I think the technology's there. It's they don't want to use the right. Do you know the trouble is with the Premier League? They're trying to be Billy Big Balls. So like the AI in the Champions League, they've got the AI that goes yes or no. We won't use it in the Premier League because we can do it ourselves. We are clever enough to do it ourselves. We can draw our own lines. The Premier League have to give up a little bit of control, and they don't want to do. That is the problem. They don't want to give up control.
I think the fundamental issue is that the technology has to be refereed at the level that the television channels show. So football cannot go back to not using technology and letting the game flow and just letting the refs do it if the TV stations are going to show slowed down replays, freeze frames and everything else. Because if they do that, you are just setting up the referee to be permanently wrong. And that's why cricket had to go the way it went. Because once the Sky TV started to show, use their technology to show whether something was out or not, or things like that, the sport had to go the way of the TV. So they've got a choice. If they were to go backwards and use less technology, they would have to get all the media companies to agree that in their coverage, they're not going to use that technology, because otherwise you are just setting up the whole game to fail. So, and I think it would be a huge job to try and expect Sky and Amazon and BT and everyone else to go back to not using that in their coverage. But you would have to do that if you're going to take technology away from the referees, because that's why it all came in. It wasn't because of referee being bad. It was because the television stations were showing the mistakes 25 times on repeat, and therefore that was causing a huge issue with fans, with everyone. And that is the issue. If the TV channels hadn't done that, we'd still have referees, we'd have none of the rest of it. But that is the issue. You have to referee at the level that the television stations are covering it.
Right, Alan, quickly, because we need to road it at half-10. We're not even at Everton yet.
You're on mute. Who is he? Didn't say he is. Martin, let's be honest, mate. Referees haven't been the same since Kalina retired.
Speak now, Alan. Can't hear you.
On to the next topic.
Right, I'm just going to quickly read this out and then we'll move to Everton while Alan sorts things out. There has been a breaking news. City have announced there's going to be a trial scheme for the bus network. 2 games at the Etihad Stadium featuring 17 routes, 60 stops, and the scheme will start from Chelsea at home on the 17th of February, with zones in line with the Metrolink priced at £6 to £8 return. Now, there is going to be, I'll give you each stop as we go along. The first one will be Horton Green on Mancunian Road, Horton Green at Terminus. Then we've got Gee Cross, Staley Bridge, Heald Green. Number 5 is Rose Hill Marple. Number 6 is Offerton, New Mills, Macclesfield. I've not done this for anybody in order. After Flixton, Altrincham, Hale, Wythenshawe, Shaw, Holden, Middleton, Radcliffe.
God almighty.
So they're going to be the fair zones. So City.
Oh man, if it's in that order, that's the biggest zigzag bus route in history.
Yeah, we're bus routing it. So
anyone fancy going from Wythenshawe to the Etihad via Middleton?
It doesn't have any details on the routes yet, Cade.
Yeah, I don't think that's all one route, Pat.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's not one route, mate. You'll be not on a 5-hour.
Might as well get an open top and just leave it open for tourists.
So
considering the club keep raising ticket prices.
Are you trying to put something in for the match going fans there to get around? £6 to £8 to get around?
I think it'd be, to be honest, I think that's a really good idea if it works and if it's done right, because, getting to and from games can be a pain in the backside. Driving, you're often parking like 20 minutes away, and, if you want to get out quickly, you either do that dreaded leave early at 85 minutes, which, most of us can't do, or you nearly kill yourself jogging for a mile to try and get ahead of the crowd to get back to your car. So anything that can make it easier for fans and relatively affordable, I think is good. I wish there'd been back the football specials on the trains as well. I think it's about time that was done.
Martin, I'm assuming the Metrolink will still be operating through Etihad campus, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, automatically that's a positive with the buses too, because I think that alleviates a lot of crowd congestion, especially with all that bottlenecking going around with all the construction sites at the moment too. I just think it just alleviates a lot of pressure on the Metrolink too. So that's one. I suppose that's one big positive you can take out of it. The big question for me is how long is it going to be operating after the final whistle? because if they're just going to stop the bus services, say only an hour after it finishes, you're still going to have a lot of people stranded.
Doesn't say. This was coming out from Mike Monet wrote this earlier on. So I'm presuming there's going to be more details as we're going through. Alan,
and is this going to be operating every match day as well too?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah, good. I can hear you. There's always been a problem about getting, especially leaving the Etihad with all the cars in one place, not enough car parks in the surrounding areas. There's always been situations and problems there. You know that, Martin, with your situation. And when I've parked in that car park, it's a good hour before you can get out. It's ridiculous. There's just bottleneck with one entrance rather than two entrances, or even three entrances. There should be more. There should be more car parks around the surrounding areas, and I end up parking not far from the big Chinese restaurant further down the road towards Cheetham Hill, and I've been to walk 10-15 minutes so I can get guaranteed to get away. When I lived in Bury, that's what I used to do, but. There's always a problem of getting away, but and having public transport systems there should be more of it, without any shadow of a doubt. But I don't think it's going to totally get rid of any problem. I think there are always going to be issues there.
Anyone else?
All I can say is, as long as it can alleviate the pressures on the current modes of transport for everybody, it's only going to be a good thing. But the big question for me becomes is, are they going to be having a frequency of services for a considerable amount of time after each match? And then the big question then becomes is, are they going to offer more for a 3 p.m. on a Saturday than they would say for a, as we've just experienced, Burnley on a weeknight, or soon to be Brentford on a weeknight? Like, is it going to benefit anybody if they're just going to say, all right, okay, so the final whistle for Brentford will be, it'll be like, whatever it is, half 10 in the evening or something, but we're only going to have bus services operating for for half an hour until 11 p.m. Like, that's not a benefit. That's not a benefit. They're just, you need to worry more about the infrastructure than just, trying to, sardine tin as many people onto a handful of buses by the end of the match.
What game?
Yeah, I mean,
what you do is you're coming into like a localized version of the London dilemma, where there's no trains operating by the time the match is over.
I mean, the big problem is that as you just alluded to, Pat, the infrastructure just isn't around enough in the north. It's badly underfunded.
Yeah.
It's so old. Some of the lines.
Yeah.
Some of the buses. They haven't got the staff. It's just, it sounds like a good idea, but to actually put in the working order.
Ozzy, I've been going there for 10 years now, and after the first one or two matches I ever went to the Etihad, I gave up. I'd be like, I'm not even going to bother leaving it full time. I'm just going to go to Merrick D's or the Grove up at Clayton Hall, have one or two pints, and then at least by the time I've had one or two, it's less than a tenner to get an Uber back to the hotel.
Yeah, I mean,
crowds aren't for me, mate. I'd just rather just let the locals get home, because it's more important they get home than me getting anywhere else, and just leave it.
Yeah, I mean,
what's wrong with a nice half-hour stroll back up the canal to the city?
I don't know, but what's wrong with my earlobes?
A nice 100-yard walk back to Mary D's, mate. That's what's nice.
Anyway, we're going to move on to Everton, because I know some have to leave. I know you've got to go, Rich, and Alan doesn't have a lot of time. Right. Everton at home, 12:30. Manchester City can go top of the league, which we do like. We do like a little top of the league chance. What we thinking, gentlemen?
We should win.
Oh,
well, that's it.
That's your blue lock.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Do you know, at the moment, Martin, we could be playing Real Madrid away, and I think I'd feel pretty good that we're winning. I mean, you know, we are starting to play really well. We've got a fully fit squad. We've got players fighting to play. You know, the individual form of some players, like the form De Bruyne's come back with, the form Foden's in. Yeah, I think there's some really, really, you know, great things at the moment. I think we're in, hate to say it, but we're in treble winning or building up to treble winning form. Yes, we need to show it in really big games against big teams, but we're probably not going to have that opportunity till, you know, mid-March. But, you know, yeah, we would have to be confident playing anyone with our fully fit squad at home and everything else. I mean, yes, sooner or later a hiccup will happen, I'm sure, but it just doesn't look like it at the minute. You know, against Burnley, even against Brentford when we're behind, I just don't think at any point, you know, most City fans, apart from Alan, thought we weren't going to win.
There's no Sean Downside, by the way. Touchline ban. And just so I'll let you know, there's a new name for this game on Saturday at 12. It's called the El Cheatico. It's the two cheating clubs. Manchester City will take on Everton in the El Cheatico at 12:30 on Saturday the 10th of February. You're looking forward to El Cheatico?
Yes. Yes.
Do you know what? Knowing both fan bases, we'll probably end up having a bit of a laugh about it anyway.
No, we won't. They hate us.
Oh, well.
Jose, are you? Because I'm totally confident. I'm going to put my neck out. I think we're spanking these. This is where our goal difference goes up.
Well,
yeah. I mean, the last time Everton got any sort of kind of, you know, just the draw in 2022. Before that, you have to go back to actually I think it was 2017, the last time Everton actually beat us. They're not on a decent run of form at the moment. You know, it seemed that, you know, the Gal, you know, with the FFP going against them, it kind of seemed to kind of galvanise them at first, and they kind of had a few games on the bounce, but then, yeah, it hasn't been good for the last 5 matches, if more. So I think you're right, Mark. I think it's Everton, for them, it's not a good time to play us. We're coming into some patch of really good form. Players are, as Rich was saying, they're fighting to get on the pitch to prove themselves. Haaland is definitely feeling like he needs to bang in a few goals because he's just desperate to get on the score sheet. So, yeah, I mean, I think you have a right to be confident. I can understand Everton's, like, the fans' frustration. They've been punished, and they're looking at us going, what the hell's going on? We've been punished. Nobody else has been. City just seem to be getting away with it because they've got the money and the power. So I feel for them as a fan base, I do. But as purely a City supporter, I'm looking forward to the game.
I'm being asked this year. I have no sympathy for any of these because they've all been twats with us. You reap what you sow. Tough titties. Sorry, no sympathy at all for any of them.
It's not their fault as a fan base that their club has been
their
mismanaged.
fan base has been disgusting with some of ours. Not all of them, but most of them. Cheap this, 115 that.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Martin, I'm over it. I'm over all the bullshit and the lies and manipulation by the Premier League and by the press to create all these issues.
It's not all of them, though. It's not. Some of them are top notch.
Yeah, mate, they are the liars, all of them. And I blame the Premier League for allowing this to happen. I think they're corrupt in touching on criminal, and they're just manipulating the way they want to work it. I'm over the Premier League in every single way, the way they're behaving.
Mark Fogg's going 5-0. Pickford got the most clean sheet, apparently. I don't know. They haven't actually, Everton's run against Manchester City. They've had 1 point in the last 5 or 6 years. The last time they got something was the 1-1 at City last season in December, if you remember, on New Year's Eve, versus December 2022. They got a 1-1 draw. But other than that, the last time they got anything at the Etihad was, if you remember, Pep's first season. Was it Pep's first season?
Oh, no, it was a Centurion season. It was
Centurion.
1-1 draw. I think it was like the second match day.
Yeah,
Rooney scored. Rooney scored, and then from then that's when we went on our 18 in a row.
So, yeah.
The other thing too is their side. I think it looks likely that Onana and Doucouré are going to be out, who are probably their 2 best midfielders.
And by the way, Sean, listen, there's Paul Hewitt who's in the chat, who's a top Everton fan. I know Cal, who's a top Everton fan. I have no issue with genuine, because they're not idiots to Manchester City fans. It's these people who have a go at City fans and call us every name under the sun and blame us for their situation. That's not fair. We tried to help Everton. We tried to help Nottingham Forest. None of them wanted to listen. We said, do not vote for FFP. They all wanted it. And even the new vote for FFP that's due to be coming out, because that's been leaked, because apparently now they're going to follow the UEFA FSR system, where it's going to be spend 70% of your turnover. Great. You're still going to be monopolising the league. No system they're ever going to use will ever help anyone.
No, so it's all about getting Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal back to the top and fuck everybody else.
Well, it's not, because Alan, the new FSR system that they're bringing in, actually, Alan, suits Manchester City the most.
Yeah, I know it does, but they'll just accuse us of fraud, won't they? So,
Alan, they're voting the system in.
Oh well, I don't like the Premier League, mate. I've just got no time.
Michael Davis, totally different, mate.
Yeah,
totally different. Please don't.
No, that's his scoreline for the weekend.
Is that your scoreline?
It's his scoreline for the weekend. Yeah. You're not thinking. You're just thinking about what's in front of you. What's in front of you, Martin. You're not thinking about the overall picture. You're playing checkers. Davey's playing chess.
Do you know, it's because I'm so used to people just throwing 115 at us.
Yeah.
So used to it now. But personally, I'm saying it now. I think City will win the league. I don't care. I've said it for months. City will win the 4P. Don't know about the treble. I'll talk about that later.
You'll be treble daddy before you know it.
I'm telling you now, we will be 4P in this league. 1,000%.
Treble daddy.
Because we've got the bit between our teeth. We're 8 and 9 on the bounce. There is no team coming close to us right now. With a fully fit squad, yeah, the way we play, we're going to concede 1 or 2 goals. Fans just have to get over that. That's the way Pep wants to do it this season. He's going bollocks to your clean sheet. We'll concede 1. We'll score 3 and 4. Fine, do it that way. We're winning the league this year. Don't care. No one's coming close to us. Liverpool and Arsenal, sorry, go and cry. End of. City are the best team in the league with the best players, the best manager, the best set of fans. We are 4P in. End of.
Love it, Martin.
Yeah.
Go on, Martin.
Not usually a fan of the 12:30 kickoff, but I just feel like we've got the bit between our teeth at the moment. And,
yeah. One more round. Any bugger tells me to sit down on Saturday in that stadium, I'm telling you to shut up. I'm standing up. I'm singing. I'm chanting. If you want to sit down, stay at home and watch on the TV.
Have you moved to the south state, have you?
No, I am singing, and I am going to sing.
Well, then sit down like a good family stand member would and just enjoy your match, okay?
I know.
And Alan's going to have a fresh set of Duracell. There you go, right there.
There you
That's
go.
fine.
Alan's singing.
Hey, it's good for us, Pat. It's good for us, Pat.
Oh yeah, mate. Shiny disco balls, as we call it here in Sydney, mate. Yeah, everybody will be up for it.
It's half 11 kickoff at night, so
yeah.
I'm going to go round before we end. Pat, we're winning the 4P. We're doing the 4P. I'm going early. I don't care.
I'm confident we will. Yeah, quietly confident.
No bollocks to your confidence.
No, quietly confident.
Nail it to the mast. You shitbag. Jose, are we winning the league?
Yes.
Good man. Alan, are we winning the league?
Yes.
I'm scared of saying this because he's going to shout at me. Rich, are we winning the league?
I said it before the season started. Nothing's changed.
If I can be honest with you, I think what is it? The third last league match is our last. Well, no, the last home match of the season is what, at home to West Ham. But 2 weeks before that is Wolves away. I'd love for us to clinch the league with a win on that match. I want to win it in the ground with games to spare. We've never done it. It's always been final day. I want to win it with matches to spare, and we clinch it at home, not clinch it while some other team is losing out on another football field.
Yeah, but the last game of the season is at home. Pat, so.
No, but I mean, like I wanted at Wolves because we play at Wolves 2 weeks before the final match. I'd love to win it then. You know, win it with none of this final day bloody nerves and just.
Pat, are you turning like Southern? You're sounding like a Cockney. We want to win it after 93-20. We want to win 94-30. We want to take it to a new level. There's nowhere near the happiness or the misery.
So you want like a 90? You want like a 94-37 or something? Yeah, you want a new one.
I want City 2-0 down at home going into the 90th minute and the Scousers 5 up. I want them celebrating and dancing in the stands, and then we get 3 in injury time and win it in the 97th minute. I want meltdowns. Theories. Yeah, it's just boring winning it weeks early. Yeah, no, Cockney, soft, man up.
Right. On that note, we'll call it a day. I want to thank everyone for joining. I really enjoyed that tonight. I thought that was quite really good.
I enjoyed your ranting. I enjoyed your ranting, Martin.
There's no rant from me, mate. You're getting pure passion. Let's fucking go. Blue boys on tour 4 in a row.
Yes, very nice.
In fact, Pat, I've decided the best way to win the league would be we get deducted 20 points from the 115 charges. They award it to Liverpool, then they reverse it, and Pep goes down in a transit van to take the Premier League out of their trophy cabinet.
Just like snatch and grab job, like a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, like it.
I mean, we're talking about Southerners, aren't we, mate? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I reckon we win it 2 weeks after the season would be even funnier.
Oh dear.
Right, Martin. I will see you later. I've got work to do.
What? Nobody. I knew that's why everyone was despairing. Then.
Night.
Right. Thank you all. And before I'm going to end, I am going to put a redirect on to LB's channel, who's currently live or will about to go live as well. Please smash that thumbs up. Smash that. We are doing great guns at the moment, and I can't thank everyone enough. We are flying in the numbers. We are. If anyone who's new, it's a big ask. We're trying to get to 5K by
That's how you lose subs.
Yeah.
But,
press the like button and press the subscribe button, everybody.
I'm lost.
Alan, you need to trim your nose hairs. I can see right.
Oh, you mean Alan? I thought you meant something I was saying.
Dear God.
Anyway, I want to say a big thank you. He's just bloody gone. Bye, Alan.
No, he said he had to go. Just...
Oh, Jesus. Right. What I'm going to do is put this. I want to make sure I do this redirect. I've never done a redirect in all my life. So I haven't actually got a clue what I'm doing. Let me make sure I get this right.
Horribly wrong.
Who said it is? Baby.
We end up on a Liverpool stream.
Hang on a minute. I just want to make sure I've got this right.
Totally professional.
I've never done a redirect. Right, it's on. It's on. The redirect is on. Right, so you don't need to go anywhere. You'll go straight to LB's channel. We will be back Saturday night with the post-match for Everton. I will let you know time and place. It is an early kickoff. So we'll see when. I know Ozzy's busy. He's moving into his brand new home. And we wish him all the very best. So Ozzy may not be around for the next couple of weekends, but he'll try and be here on Thursdays. Pat, are you available Saturday?
Yes.
Right,
I'll be around.
Me and Pat.
Everton
are getting their ass slapped. Anyway, enjoy, and we'll see you all Saturday night for hopefully Manchester City top of the league. Well, for about 2 hours till Liverpool play.
Oh, Burnley 1-1.
Ooh. Take care, all, and thank you all for joining us.
See you later, guys.
Bye.